The PlayStation State of Play aired yesterday, showing off what they've been busy working on. I think we've all been eagerly awaiting to see what Sony's had up their sleeve all this time, and that was a great opportunity for us to see that. Some were anticipated, others not, but after giving it a while to digest, I kind of wanted to throw in my 2 cents, as I felt there was definitely a lot for us to talk about. So, starting from the top, looking at what we had yesterday, they opened things up with Marvel's Wolverine. I thought this was an excellent trailer. Definitely looks insane. I'm a huge fan of the Spider-Man series, so I was excited again to see this. I think it's exactly what anybody who was a fan of X-Men Origins Wolverine, I think back in like 2006 or 2008, somewhere in there. Anybody who's a fan of that definitely has to be a fan of this and be looking forward to that. So I think this is going to be great. Followed then by Marvel Token Fighting Souls. Looked really good. I'm not typically a fan of the 2D fighters, so the original like Street Fighter and those kind of games. I'm not really typically a fan of those, but the art style, the actual speed on this looked pretty good. Pretty reminiscent of the Dragon Ball Fighters, or Fighter Z, whichever way you want to pronounce it, but that really reminded me of that. Looks pretty good. Stuntman Hollywood, wasn't anticipating to see that. I'm not familiar with the original lineup of games, but definitely looks like it'd be a pretty fun game. Closest thing I could probably relate it to would be Flat Out. So anybody out there who actually played Flat Out, that's kind of what that reminded me of. So probably gonna pick that up. Then it was followed up by Dune Awakening. Have yet to actually see the movies. I haven't seen any of them. I usually like to wait for things to finish on this kind of level before I actually go to watch it. So Dune, probably not gonna pick it up. Probably depends on how good the movies are when I actually watch them. But if it is any bit good, then yeah, definitely probably pick that up. Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis looked amazing. Was too young and my parents wouldn't let me play the originals as a kid, so definitely to see that get remade. At first I thought it was an addition to the already existing trilogy. I wasn't sure if they were adding on to that, but clearly they're just taking it back to the original. So I will be picking that up more than likely. Followed up by that was Until Dawn 2. Still have yet to actually play the first one. I own it. It's also on PlayStation Plus at the moment. I don't know. I don't want to say I get bored, but I feel like I could be playing something a little bit more, I don't even know what the adjective I want to throw in there would be, but just something a little bit more exhilarating, I guess. I recently just played and beat Silent Hill 2 for the first time, which absolutely had me just scared out of my mind. The atmosphere in that game is absolutely amazing. Need to do a review on it actually, but you know, Until Dawn, the first one, you know, I love the concept. I like those kind of games where you pick and choose your adventure. I think those can be fun, especially in a group setting. But solo by myself, I could be playing something else. Moving on, we got Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thief, I believe it is. Have never really sat down and played one of the Ace Combat games before, but again, I know through watching gameplay that, you know, the games already look amazing. This one looked amazing. It's been my childhood dream to be a fighter jet pilot, so I know at the current time this is probably the closest I could possibly get to it. Not the type to go buy one of the cockpits and gimbals and all that, but definitely will probably pick it up when it's on a nice sale. I won't buy it brand new, although the campaign, or if that's what I believed was the campaign that they showed, it looked insane, you know. So definitely when it's on sale, we'll probably pick that up. So we moved on to, after that, Control Resonant. Have yet to play the first Control. I have it installed on my PS5 now, but yeah, have yet to actually play it. It looks like it's an interesting game. I know the reviews on the first one were pretty good. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was made by the same people who had made, what is it, Quantum Break. Yeah, Quantum Break. A lot of people didn't like Quantum Break, so I I'm not 100% on that one. Control, like I said, I do have it installed. I'll get around to it. Number 9, we moved on to Destiny Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. Have heard a lot about, or I'm sorry, not I said Destiny, that's on me. Dynasty Warriors. The Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. That is a series that I haven't really played, I don't think ever. Honestly, surprised to see it has gone on as long as it has. But, you know, clearly there's still a base out there of people that enjoy playing these games. So, you know, they look cool. I definitely will give them that. They look cool. When you see yourself, you know, just taking out just hordes of enemies, you know, hack and slash style. It's pretty cool to watch. Is it a game that I would sit down and fully play? No. But, you know, maybe it's one of those you shouldn't knock it till you try it. Moving on, the next game that we had shown was called Ill. I-L-L. Originally, I thought this was like either a Silent Hill or a Resident Evil or something like that. Game looks absolutely intense, really high quality graphics. I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to horror games, but I think this is definitely one that I will pick up. Probably, you know, not day one due to reasons we can get into on another day, but will probably buy. You know, I definitely will probably buy this pretty early on. Probably don't need to wait for sale or anything like this, because this just piqued my interest that much. Again, I'm not really too good at horror games. It usually takes me a while to get through them, but you know, if I can calm my nerves and work through it little chunks at a time, then definitely that will be a pickup. Moving on, we got Rayman Legends Retold. Again, I missed this one. I didn't play Rayman, any of the Raymans as a kid. I know that these were kind of popular, but I missed these. I was more of a Spyro kid, I guess. And by the time, or maybe it originated on the 360. I could be getting mixed up, but I think Rayman originally was on the 360. And by the time I got my 360, I was playing MW3. So Rayman Legends, it looks cool, but definitely not for me. Moving on, ironically, is actually Silent Hill Townfall. So Ill, you know, 2 games before, I thought was Silent Hill or something of that ilk, but then no, I was wrong, and then you move forward and then we got Silent Hill Townfall, where this time around immediately almost I could tell, I was like, oh yeah, this is Silent Hill, this has to be something Silent Hill based. Now, seeing how we just got Silent Hill F, I didn't think that we would have gotten, I wouldn't have thought we would have gotten something again this soon from Silent Hill. Maybe like another remake of like the first game, or even The Room. I know The Room is popular as well, but I guess just another spin-off game or anthology game. I'm not really too familiar all the way, but you know, I mean, it looks great. Graphics again looked amazing. That atmosphere, they're really shooting for that same dark, moody, cloudy atmosphere. So I might pick that one up maybe on a sale. I probably won't buy that day one or anything like that. Moving on, then we had Kamuri. This one, because I'm going off the memory of this list right now, I don't remember this one. So no disrespect to it, but I don't remember it, so I'm gonna move on. And then so the next one that we had showcased was No Rest for the Wicked. Let me think, racking my brain. No Rest for the Wicked. No Rest for the Wicked. Yeah, don't remember it, so gonna move on. Omnimusha Way of the Sword. Omnimusha Way of the Sword. This one here, I believe this was another remake of a classic game or something like that. I'm not familiar with it. Watching it, it looked cool, but no, it's probably gonna be a no for me, dog. So moving on past that, then we had Phantom Blade Zero, which again I think is a classic, or at least sounds familiar to me. Watching it yesterday again, not enough to pique my interest to pick it up, so moving on. Then we had The Lost Wild. The Lost Wild, so this was a game that I was like, oh shoot, wait a minute, we might have something here. Started off looking like a Jurassic Park kind of game, like a VR game, but it clearly is called The Lost Wild. So again, I wouldn't pick it up day one or anything like that. I'm gonna pick that up on a sale, but nonetheless, it did look kind of cool. Again, very VR-ish. I could understand if you had a VR and this was a VR game, you picked it up. I could definitely understand. You know, this would probably be one of those like must-play games. You know, my buddy recently let me borrow his VR. I bought Resident Evil 4 because I figured that was probably one of the highest quality VR games to play. So, if depending on, the way they put this out, maybe potentially this is going to be one of those games where you're like, hey, if you've got a VR, then, you have to play this. So moving on past that, then we got on to Bancho the Chef. Interesting game, I guess to say. High energy, very high energy, cool art style. One of those kitchen manager games. Definitely, it's not for me, but I definitely appreciated the energy. It was a nice little change of pace there. Followed up then after that by Marathon. So I know Sony pumped a lot of money into this IP recently, trying to get it off the ground. I don't know how well it's doing. None of the people that I have on console, or really just talking games in general, are playing this. So respectfully, again, I don't know how well it's doing. Season 2 update is what they showed us yesterday. It's a very dark game. Like, it looks kind of dark. I don't know. So moving on, finally, to wrap things up, we got a 20-minute trailer of God of War La Fey. Okay, maybe I need to do an extended kind of review on this, but quick thoughts, I guess, that I took away from it. Let me preface it, I guess, by stating that I was not the biggest fan of God of War Ragnarok. I love God of War 2018. I think it's a 9, almost maybe 10 out of 10 game. I thought it was an amazing game. But then when I got to the highly anticipated sequel for me, God of War Ragnarok, that I didn't even touch until I got my PS5, by the way, because I was so excited for the game that I didn't want to even play it on lesser hardware. So I waited to get a PS5 before I decided to try to play the game. The way the game started off, oh my god, it was on an absolute high. That fight with Thor was absolutely just insane. The concept of you fighting him killing you, and then bringing you back to life, I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Not only this is how you do it, this is how you open a game. This is actually how you open a game. You set the stage for the level of threat that we're here to face. And then just as the game progressed, it just kind of went downhill for me. It started strong, and then, the more time that I had to spend away from Kratos as Atreus, doing things that I don't care to do, I guess doing things for the most part that I don't care to do. The things that were in Asgard, that was cool, but everything else really with him, it just felt like a waste of time. It felt like filler until I could get back to playing as Kratos, but even with him, it was like, I don't know, the game didn't reach the same heights to me as the first one did. So moving on here to La Fey, here we are yet again playing as another character whose name isn't Kratos. I probably won't be picking this up. I don't want to say at all. I won't say at all, but it would have to be on sale for me. This is not going to be a day one buy. The graphics looked amazing, of course. Gameplay looked good. I mean, I guess people are overly ecstatic because you can jump up in the air and do all the combos and stuff like that from the original games. That's cool. I respect that. I think that's great. I would probably love it more if it was Kratos with the chains, right? Not his dead wife. And then on top of that, even if this is the case, this is a prequel to the second game. I'm beginning to feel, or fear I should say, that they're starting to paint themselves into a corner. Kratos has been around a long time. He's an iconic character, but with the way that they're bringing him in, either A, they're going to kill him off, or B, they may try to branch off his own, pantheon of gods and stuff like that, to continue this must be better narrative that they've had going. So, we'll see. Time will definitely tell. Again, I'm not opposed to picking it up, but it would probably be at a nice little sale for sure. But those are my thoughts that I had on the state of play. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.